Welcome to The Sheets Show, where secrets spill, stories unfold, and everyone's got a little dirty laundry. I'm your host, Meaghan Sheets, and I'm using my gift of connection and my experience as a hairstylist to bring you salon-style conversations to help you feel seen, heard, and loved. So pull up a chair, get comfy, and together, let's air it all out. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Sheets Show. I am your host, Meaghan Sheets, and today we are unfolding my story. This is episode 2. Now, before I bring on any other guests, I wanted to really sit down and truly unfold my story with you. How did I get to be the woman that I am today? How did I get here holding a microphone in my hand, sharing all of these personal stories with you? Well, it started a long time ago. Just kidding, it wasn't that long ago. I'm not that old yet. So I wanted to just kind of briefly explain a little bit of my backstory here. I was raised by an incredible woman. She was a single mom. We had a lot of hard times because of that. My mom is truly an incredible person, and I had the privilege of sharing this story on stage in front of hundreds of people at the Evening in Blanc event for Project Beauty Share, which if you follow me, you know that that organization is very near and dear to my heart. And it's because while growing up, we lived off of state assistance, and we really needed the handouts and the help from so many people. And my mom truly did the best she could with what she had, but there was a lot of things that were just standing against her, basically. So growing up, we truly tried to do the best, but we just did not have access to a lot of things. We were on food stamps. I had a lot of hand-me-downs from people. And when I was little and kind of going through puberty, your body is changing so much and you need a lot more, especially as young girls. You need beauty products and feminine hygiene and things like that. And we just did not have the funds for it. And also I have 2 younger sisters, and although they weren't at that stage in life yet, a single mom raising 3 girls, that's a lot. That's a heavy weight to hold. And the reason why I love Project Beauty Share so much is because they get to give beauty and hygiene products to little girls like I once was. My salon is a drop-off center. And I've also included a bunch of other businesses to also be drop-off centers so that all throughout the Inland Northwest, all little girls can have the chance to feel confident. And through those struggles, that's kind of what allowed me to transition into the beauty world. I think maybe now looking back, because I didn't have access to beauty products, I started stealing them. And that is something that I am definitely not proud of. I'm very ashamed of that because 1, I knew better. And 2, now being a business owner, I realized how detrimental that was to those businesses when a young teen is coming in and stealing things from your business. Like, that's awful. So that was definitely something that I struggled with. But when I got into beauty school, I realized how important it was to have those hair and beauty products to make yourself feel good. And it was such a creative outlet for me. I was always the social butterfly in class, and I never did my homework. And somehow I still managed to get A's and B's. I still have no idea how I managed to do that. But I think it was something that once I got to beauty school, that creative outlet, that confidence and that artistry just really started blooming from there. And once I realized that I was not only capable, but actually really good at making other women feel confident in who they are, it just clicked for me. Everything started making sense. And I knew, especially straight into beauty school, that I was going to be a business owner one day. I knew that I wanted to have a salon because if you haven't caught the drift yet, I don't really like to follow rules. I don't really like being told what to do. And so I figured that if I had a salon, nobody could tell me what to do, which it's funny now because I'm the boss. And sometimes the boss is kind of rude. Sometimes being the boss is so much harder than just being an employee. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes. But I loved being able to help transform women from the outside in and inside out, vice versa. I realized that my ability to be able to share these important stories and be able to share my heart allowed other women to open up and share their stories too. Within the same year of me opening my salon, I also got married to my wonderful husband, Nathan. He is such an incredible man. He is patient and kind. And that man has taken on so much when he married me. I have a very big personality. Who are we kidding? I have multiple personalities, and he handles them all with grace. And I'm so grateful for him. But during that year, and I will share our story a little bit deeper later on in another episode. But during that first year of marriage, first year opening a salon, there was a lot of moving parts. And truly, it was my clients and that true connection that we had that allowed me to keep going and keep pushing. They were celebrating with me. That year was a huge year for me. All of my dreams were coming true. And during that year, I also was able to, me and my husband came together and we found God together. We went to church together for the first time. We really started building our faith together. And that deepened even more with my clients. My clients have now become some of my greatest friends. And now I get to be part of such a big story with them. Fast forward a couple years later, I then became a mom. And truly, it is the greatest gift. I am so incredibly grateful to be a mom. That is something that I didn't even know that I ever really wanted. I think other people, like on my inner circle, they could see that I would be a great mom. I mean, I was always the one with the Mary Poppins bag. I always have my Hulkin and my backpack and my bag of snacks, like always am prepared for anything and everything. But I didn't get that feeling of wanting to be a mom until one of my clients mentioned it. And she was very real. And she said, you know, I really think that you would be an incredible mom one day. And she's right. I am an incredible mom. I love it. Yeah, I'm going to toot my own horn because I love it. I love being a mom, and more moms should say how much they love it and how proud of themselves they are. Yeah. But then after I became a mom, I had my daughter and then I had my son. I had them back to back. And absolutely love having them close together. It is such a blessing. It's so much fun, but it is hard. We also moved to Idaho during that time as well. I'm from Washington originally. My husband is from Lewiston, Idaho. And so we moved to North Idaho. And I am so grateful for that. It is wonderful. But there's a lot of change happening within those couple of years. And to be honest, I feel like I was trying to fit myself into this box that was never created for me to fit in. All of a sudden, I was a mom and I'm also a Christian, and I was trying to fit myself into this almost Pinterest mom aesthetic. And I felt like all of a sudden I had to be very demure, very mindful, very aware of what everyone was thinking of me. And I really don't think people really cared. what I was doing. But to me, I felt like I all of a sudden had to change everything about me. So I started wearing less makeup. I started wearing more casual clothes. And there's nothing wrong with those things. I love being more casual, but that's not who I am at my core. I am a creative person. I love hair and makeup. I love sparkles and glitter. And I really knew that after I had my son, I was going through some postpartum depression. I knew that if I wanted to build my confidence back up, that's where I had to start. I had to start feeling like myself again. And myself feels my best when I have my hair done, I have makeup on, I've got my nails done, and I'm wearing something pretty. So then, around that time, I had the opportunity to join the pageant. And I never in a million years thought that I would join a pageant. I'm sure other people probably thought it would fit me, but I never felt good enough for that. I had tattoos at a very young age. I had what I call my pre-Jesus phase, where I was drinking, I was partying, I was having a very scandalous moment in my life. And I had all these tattoos. And so I just didn't fit the pageant mold, so to say. So when that opportunity landed in my lap at 29 years old, my husband was the one who really encouraged me, and he said, "Shoot your shot, babe." And so I said yes. I paid the $50 entrance fee and I applied for my local city title. And that is how I started out. I started as Mrs. Coeur d'Alene. And it was such an incredible experience because I really had to push through so much fear and doubt and every feeling from since I was a little girl of not being good enough or not having enough really weighed on my shoulders in that moment of saying yes to joining this pageant. It was like I was, yeah, like a young girl all over again who just wasn't enough. And I remember sitting on my back porch talking to God and really thinking, how am I supposed to do this? What are people going to think of me? He really put it on my heart and reminded me that this is something that He will carry me through because God has forgiven so many sins of mine. And I know that He is with me through all things. One of the verses that really I held on to during my last 2 years of my pageant journey is, "Perhaps you were made queen for such a time as this." Because when I first signed up, God gave me the vision that I would win the title of Mrs. Idaho. And I held on to that vision. The first year, I placed top 5. And I was so happy about that. I was ecstatic. I was so grateful. For my first year, my first pageant ever, I placed top 5. That's huge. I had zero prior experience. I knew nothing about the pageant world. And I built the most incredible friendships out of that. I really learned what true sisterhood was because years prior to that, I lost a lot of friendships. I lost friends and business partnerships and groups and people that I really loved and cared for. It was like dominoes. Slowly, one by one, they all started dropping off. So joining the pageant was a chance for me to rebuild that sisterhood and rebuild my own self-confidence. I'm really glad that I did not win that first year because, again, I was a newbie and there was so much more to learn. So after that first year was true self-development. Who was I? What are my hobbies? What am I put on this earth to do? And then that second year, I was like, okay, now that I know who I am, this is what I'm going to do with it. And it became my mission to make sure that every single woman that I come into contact with feels better after meeting me. I want every woman to feel more confident, more encouraged, and more empowered. It truly starts with our own self-confidence. And I'm so glad that the pageant gave me that experience. It not only helped with self development, but it gave me the leadership skills that have always been there. But I needed a platform, I needed something to pull that out of me. And so I fought through the fear and the doubts. And because of that, I created my platform, More Than Makeup. And through that, I have helped thousands of women be able to find themselves again. All you need is 5 seconds of courage and a tube of lipstick. And I promise you that you will feel a more confident version of yourself. So, the woman that you hear today, the woman sitting before you today, is somebody who overcame so many struggles and heartaches and embarrassing moments. And I have fought my way through tooth and nail to be here because I know that there's people out there counting on me. There's people who need to hear my voice, and there's people who will be impacted by my story. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to make sure that everyone has a chance to be heard and feel seen and feel loved. So after I won Mrs. Idaho, I was over the moon. I should share a video with you guys because right before I won, so you have like a couple hour break before you go on stage. We had rehearsals in the morning. So this is the state pageant. You had rehearsals in the morning, and then you have like a 2 hour gap, and then it's showtime, baby. And so those 2 hours, I did all of my own hair and makeup. So I was already set. Like when I do my makeup, it is set for the entire day. So I just had to do light touch ups. And I went out. It was a beautiful day. I went walking around the campus where we had the pageant, and I found this cute little bench under a tree. And I just had this overwhelming peace and joy. And I took a video. I recorded myself because I wanted to remember what it felt like in that moment, the moment before I won, because I knew I was going to win that year. I just felt it. It was something that, like I said, God had put on my heart from the moment I signed up. And so I knew that this was my year. And in the video, I said, I never want to forget this feeling. So maybe I'll share it with you guys. It's a little personal, but you know, that's what I'm here for, right? To share the personal stories. And so when my name was called as Mrs. Idaho American, the very first person that I called to was Jesus. And then obviously my husband. Faith, family, service. Those are the order of things in my life. And I was so ecstatic. And then after that, I prepared for the next few months getting ready to go to nationals. Nationals is the big one. That is like the next step. So it goes state, Mrs. American, and then Mrs. World if you're chosen as the winner. And going into that, I really had it on my heart. Like, I was like, I'm going to be a semifinalist. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to carry on the legacy because the two former queens before me, like pretty much all of the former queens before me, have placed or won awards. And so I wanted to carry that on too. So I did all of the work. I did the walking practice and the coaching and the interview prep and the wardrobe and the working out, which, whew, oh my goodness, those 5 a.m. workouts were brutal. But what's funny is I'm still doing those workouts. So something stuck. But I truly gave it my all. I did everything I possibly could to pour into that so I was ready for nationals. And I made sure to pour into the sisterhood, and I connected, and I had Zoom meetings with everyone. And during Nationals Week, there was a lot of there's a lot of mess that happened, a lot of like weird behind the scenes things that kept happening. Like imagine me, 5 giant pieces of luggage, my costume, which is like a huge box that I had. I'm in heels, full hair and makeup, a little cropped 2-piece set. And I am just hunched over, carrying all of this luggage through the Vegas airport. I have never felt more dumb in my entire life. I felt like I was like in Legally Blonde, where everyone's looking at her thinking she's like, oh, who's this dumb girl walking around here? Yeah, that was me. So, next queen who wins, don't worry, I will help you. I will make sure that you are not alone in the airport. But during Nationals week, I felt so good. I felt happy. I felt joyful. I felt confident. My routine was there. I was still able to work out. I was making incredible friendships. Like, I had the time of my life. I kept explaining that it was kind of like summer camp. I never went to summer camp, so I don't really know. I never went to summer camp. I was never in a sorority. Like, I didn't go to real college, you guys. I went to cosmetology school. It's very different. And I just had the time of my life. It was incredible. So there was no doubt in my mind that I would not be a semifinalist. My social media was on point. Like, I was on it, you guys. And then my name was never called. And because I had only experienced pageants for the last 2 years, I had never felt that before. Like I said, the first year I placed top five, the second year I won. So going into nationals, I think I just had set really high expectations for myself. It was almost as if because I had put in the work that I felt like I deserved that spot. But guess what? I wasn't the only one who put in the work. There were 41 other women who did that too. So I think it was really unfair of me to put those expectations on me. And I definitely blame myself for that. But there was still deep disappointment. I felt like I let everyone down. I had all of my friends and family who paid for the streaming services, who flew to Vegas. My whole family was there. And I had so many sponsors who paid and were helpful. And I had so many people rooting for me. And so when my name wasn't called, I felt like I let everyone down. And I know that's not true. I know that everyone loves me and cares for me, but it was still really hurtful. So I went back to my room, to my husband's room, because I had my incredible roommate all week, which like literally amazing. If I could live with her, I probably would. She was wonderful. And I go back to my husband's room after the night, after pageant night, and I just wanted a cheeseburger. I just wanted a cheeseburger and I just wanted to cry. And so I ordered DoorDash, and the DoorDash lady literally left our food on the side of the road in Vegas. She said that she couldn't bring it inside, but there was a DoorDash drop-off place. So difficult. And so my husband had to go on a wild goose chase to go find me my cheeseburger. And he finally finds it, comes back, and all that there was a tiny little kid's cheeseburger. Like half of our order had been stolen. And so then I start sobbing. I'm literally in Vegas, in a hotel room, in my evening gown, like curled up on the floor, bawling my eyes out, throwing myself the biggest pity party. And I can laugh about it now. But at the time, I knew, because I knew myself so well, I knew that I needed to feel all of those emotions. Whatever emotion was flowing out of me, I needed to feel it and release it so that I could move on. And the next day I woke up and I felt so much better. I felt so good that I just was able to release all those emotions. And my husband was so supportive and just held me and let me cry and let me just share all of these thoughts that were going through my head. And I didn't need words of encouragement at that time. And maybe if you've ever gone through deep disappointment, you know what that feels like, where you just need to just release it, let it all out. You know the truth. You know that everything will be okay. But in that moment, you kind of don't want it to be okay. You just want to feel. You just want to let everything out. And so I made sure that the next day I reached out to all of my friends and family, and I just spent quality time with my people who were there to support me, because whether I was a semifinalist or not, I'm still Meaghan. I'm still Mrs. Idaho. I'm still a mom. I'm still a wife. I'm still a business owner. I'm still a leader. I am still all of these things. I don't need another thing to make me feel good about myself. And I think God needed me to go through that. Although I think He allowed it. He allowed me to feel that disappointment because I hadn't felt that in a really long time. The last time I felt something that deeply disappointing was years ago. And I'm not even going to get into that story. That's a little too deep for today. Maybe next time. But I knew that because God had allowed me to go through that, that there was going to be some greater joy on the other end of it. And I didn't want my disappointment to overtake the joy that I experienced that entire week. And so I made sure to really focus on the incredible experience that I had. Truly, it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And in this system, you don't really get to do that again. Like me being Mrs. Idaho American, that's it. That's it for me. I already experienced all there is to experience. And so now that I have come back from nationals and I've got back into the routine and the swing of things, that is what led me to doing this podcast and doing this show, because I know that God gave me a voice. He gave me this heart of servanthood, and I plan to use it for good. I want to use my voice to help others, to share my story, and use my gift of conversation to pull the stories out of other people as well. So that is what I'm here for. And that is short story made long. And I hope that through my story, if you are sorting through your own dirty laundry right now, even if it's wrinkled and messy, just know that it can unfold into something beautiful. Maybe it's a podcast. Maybe it's a show. Maybe it's diving into motherhood. Maybe it's writing that book that's been on your heart. So I hope that this week you dive into that. What is God calling you to do? Is there something that He put on your heart years ago that you've been too scared to say yes to? What's something scary that you need to really develop? Where do you need to put 5 seconds of courage into to make yourself feel a more confident, better version of yourself? So that's your homework for this week. And that is it for our show today. I am so glad that you guys were here listening. And please reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. It is just Meaghan Sheets. Make it nice and simple for you. And if you have any questions or comments, please reach out. I would love to connect with you. So let's be friends, y'all. Okay, thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.